So, hello everyone. Once again, we thank Mr. Suresh Ashan, Head of Innovation, Future Technology, Mahindra Finance, who moderated this session very well. Durga Prasad Swaminathan sir, the Chief Information Officer of Cholamandalam. Jyotilata ma'am, Chief Technology Officer of Godrej Housing Finance. Andy Sen, Chief Technology Officer of M-Pocket. Thiru sir from COO of Kinara Capital, and Nirlav Vora sir from SES for this wonderful session. Now we are moving ahead with the third session panel of this event, which is robust tech usage and the rising risk during new normal, where Dr. N. Ravindran San, who is a CIO of Shakti Finance, will moderate this session. We have in the panel Prashant Deshpande sir, Chief Information Security Officer from Shriram Transport Finance. We have Anand Aggarwal sir, CISO and consultant of Maanaveeya Development and Finance. Balaji TK sir, who is a CIO of Orange Retail Finance. Kunal Kathpal sir from who is a Chief Risk Officer of Hinduja Leyland Finance, and Nakul Rajpal, Principal Consultant from SES. So I would request Mr. N. Ravindran sir to drive this session. Over to you, Ravindran sir.
Yeah. Thanks, Asif. I think thanks for the opportunity given to me and other panelists for handling this panel discussion today afternoon. And good afternoon to the audience also for watching this session. And the topic given to us, it's a very, I can say, mix-up topic. One, it talks about the robust technology usage, especially during the pandemic situation. And the second part of the topic is very relevant. That's what actually we are going to dwell upon more in this panel discussion today. It is on the rising risks during new normal. So here, actually, we are not talking much or going to talk much about the technical aspects of risk here. We are going to talk about the business aspect of the risk. That was the topic. Actually, I am just reiterating the point here, as communicated, in the communication from Elets. And Asif has already introduced the panelists, so I am not doing that job again. So let us directly move into the panel discussion. And what we intend to do in the panel discussion for the benefit of the audience is I think we are going to raise certain areas, topics. I'll be communicating to the fellow panelists. They'll be explaining about their experience in their company with possible case studies, so that you all can easily understand. And it'll be taken up in the order. And any point of time, a panelist he wants to value add the points indicated by another panelist, they can feel free to tell. We intend to have a minimum 2 questions, considering the aspect of time. And I'm also requesting the panelists to convey the messages in a crisp manner, so that I think other panelists will get the opportunity, and we'll also try to go for more discussion and questions. To set the stage, I think all non-banking finance companies I can say, due to pandemic situation, there are many industries were badly affected and or badly affected, and still we are not come out of the clutches of the pandemic. Some areas there is good improvement is there. Some states still I think the situation is not back to normal. I can say the example of Kerala, since I think Shakti Finance, we do a lot of business in Kerala. You all know well about Maharashtra, Delhi, and about other 6 states. And we are more than 1 year old in the pandemic situation. And definitely, we the CEOs can raise our collars because we are the COVID warriors. I used to tell in many forums, we supported our business in many ways, no, to make that happen almost no as usual, how it was happening earlier. And we also uh, changed our scenario to take that the business as normal. In the technology wise, I can say some example, no work from home, and extending support for the people to take care of the applications and MIS part, etc., etc. A lot of things we have done the technology front, and we also know very well, like we are very much compliant to the agencies like RBI, because RBI is very shrewd nowadays, in getting lot of inputs from us about how we are managing our industry. And one specific aspect they are talking about, sorry, is even through circulars and even the board level, you all know what it's being discussed is how the NBFCs are taking care of the risk elements. Again, I'm repeating, the operational risk elements. It may be due to like the business aspect, whatever we were doing earlier, maybe we were doing 100 numbers earlier. Now, how much we are doing, and what are the measures the NBFC, like our companies, are taking care, to get back to the glory, and to even go further also. And another thing is like collections. That's a very critical aspect of our business. You know well, whether what sort of finance it may be, the business collection part is very important, and definitely it got affected. Many NBFCs know they got back to the normalcy. Many NBFCs are limping back slowly. You take the case of Sakti Finance. I can say nothing wrong. I think we are slowly graduating ourselves to get back to the normalcy. We are also doing a lot of technical support in that. And the number of accounts moving towards the NPA bucket is the one major risk factor. Likewise, there are multiple areas are there. We even know the like you coming to the areas of repossessing the vehicle, delinquency aspect, and resale. I think you all know very well about that. So what I want to hear from our panelists about your experience in your company, like though again I'm repeating, we have done a lot of technical support, but our business colleagues, those who are taking care of business and collection and other legal aspects and all, what is their experience, and what is the extra mile technically we go forward in supporting them to ease their burden? That is the point actually I want to get from. So first, let me ask Prashant from Shriram Transport Finance about your experience, and what are the things you are taking care to support the risk, credit risk aspect of the business actually. Over to Prashant.
Yeah, thanks, Arvind, and good afternoon to all. This is Prashant from Shriram Transport Finance. So, as Dr. Ravindan told in the right way, due to pandemic, the entire dynamics of the risk has got changed. But then I remember when the 22nd March, when the first lockdown been announced, okay, we had all senior management meet, and uh, we just decided to just evaluate for next 10-15 days how the things are going to change, what are the new things we can do. And frankly, a lot of digital initiatives we planned, lot of digital platforms got launched during this lockdown. But as a policy, as CEO was very clear to us that we are not in hurry to implement any of the digital transformation immediately, unless and until that really helps my customer to reduce the impact. So yes, due to this pandemic, frankly, the entire creditworthiness of the borrower has been changed, and we have implemented a lot of new technology subsequently. As Mr. Dr. Ravindran was telling, the first thing we have done is that We understood that the new business is not immediately possible to start. So we have concentrated all our digital transformation mechanism on the collection front first. Okay, and on the collection front, and then we also provide the working capital loans to our customer. So we went with a simple formula: if you want to run a lending business, your collection has to be effective, and if you need a collection, we just need to enter into like earn to pay kind of a model, where the first and immediate thing what we have done for employees and the customer is that we have launched a learning portal, my coach. Luckily it got launched 2 months prior to the first lockdown. And for the customers where our feet on street guys are there, we launched a cloud telephony solution where immediately as a management it allows them to be in touch with all the customer immediately and have a relationship based management with them. So all my 18,000 plus feet on street guys were in touch with customers to provide them a working capital loan. Luckily, our entire portfolio is a diversified portfolio. Yes, there was an impact on the passenger vehicles, but yes, our majority of portfolio is from the agriculture side and all those places. So we got into touch with our customer. We ensured that the entire ecosystem is in place, and to run their vehicle, like we are in a commercial vehicle finance, we need petrol, tire, the load and everything. We ensure that the entire ecosystem is built and ready on their mobile, where we call it as a my Shriram app, so that my executive will get in touch with the customer. He understand their needs, assist them to get the load and do the things. So yes, we have concentrated first on collection, then on the working capital loan, where the end-to-end onboarding system has been digitalized with the video KYC system, onboarding system, e-signage system. A lot of new technologies is implemented. Yes, and subsequently collection. Thanks to this, BBPS has been launched by the government. The entire collection system was in place, and to be frank with you, more than a decade, we have tied up with all the telcos, all the post offices, and most of the banks, where our customer can go and pay at any of the location. He need not visit my branch, and even he can play through his mobile app directly. So the entire ecosystem has built and kept it ready. And secondly, for the employee internally, as we said, we have launched a My Coach portal where we have trained all our employee to assist the customer in effective way so that they can take it forward. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Prashant. I think uh, that takeaways from your, I think now communication is very clear. I think the management strategy was very firm, like more focus on collection so that the working capital recycling can be easily done, and that apps whatever you introduced, especially customer friendly, and your collection team friendly apps, with education, etc., so that they can concentrate more on collection and to make more collection also. I think that was well communicated. Prashant, one more question: how you handle the moratorium part? I think this will be generically applicable for all the other panelists also. How it was supported by that our IT team, to handle the moratorium aspect for collection team?
Yeah, I think we will be the fastest to implement moratorium. Our technology team, Novak Technology, okay, we it helped us, and before the first lockdown got over, okay, and then when we started, reaching office immediately, and entire technology team was working from home. So I think in the less than a 2 to 3 weeks, we were ready with moratorium and management guidance we took and implemented the moratorium immediately. I think we are first and fast to implement the moratorium immediately, and we have issued the moratorium to everyone.
And actually, I think, to my understanding, we made the claim also. I think government is settling the claim now. That's what
Yes,
I'm
yes,
thinking actually
yes,
from.
yes.
Okay, Prashant. I think thanks for your inputs. I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Now I'll move to Anand to get your views, Anand, in this regard.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm actually, as introduced by Dr. Ravindra and Asif, I'm actually a technology consultant and a CISO for Maanaveeya Development and Finance Limited. So while pandemic came as a shock to all of us, and more so, I mean, good part of it that I would say is that it happened much earlier in the China and some developed country. So as an India, our country had some time to think over it before it hit. But yes, the duration of the lockdown was a big ticket item which we nobody anticipated that it could go for such a long time. So fortunately, since as all of us had some time to plan for it, we could see that this is going to be coming up. So we had a meeting, internal meeting, sometime back. I mean, sometime maybe around 2 weeks, 2 3 weeks back to take care of to take stock of where do we stand if a lockdown happens, and when a lockdown happens, how and what would be our readiness, how what we can do, what all we can do. I think the good thing was that, I mean, while best thing that we had our own internal IT team. So since we had an internal IT team, so there was a lot of things which you can do if you have your own IT teams, rather than depending upon some partners or OEM, because they would have always some challenge in terms of delivery timelines and other things. So we realized that, I think in that meeting when we took a complete stock of our readiness, we found that I think we were pretty much good to go, even if a lockdown has to happen, and we would be in a position to carry out our business without major disruption from the technology perspective or from the processing of files perspective that has to be, or disbursement of collection from the loan perspective. One thing we had a challenge at that point in time was that we did not have a digital collection mechanism, and while we were working on it, fortunately, a few days before this government imposed the lockdown, we had made it live. So that was a big saving savior for us in terms of that particular thing, that now end to end we were digitally enabled to be able to uh, service the loan as well as take the money back from the customers. Now coming back in terms of, I think when you talk about the credit risk that Dr. Ravindran talked about, see, credit risk could be, I mean, it could be because of the systemic or business, due to business processes, or it could be because of, in this scenario, because of pandemic related. Now, when we talk about pandemic related thing, because here there was, the borrower has all the intentions to pay a loan. Everything was fine, but due to pandemic there was some genuine issues because of which he or she was borrower was not able to in a position to repay the loan effectively. Now as an NBFC, sorry, as an NBFC first, we have, since we had an option to give a digital payment option, so that was an option which was available. And other thing, as the Prashant also mentioned, we also had our, since we had our internal IT team, we had one very beautiful thing is that we had our in-house developed kind of a call center application, so as to say, which was a purely a mobile-based application. See, you know that in a typically NBFC, you do not have so luxury of everybody having a laptop or everybody having so kinds of, in a small medium NBFC, you would not have that kind of luxuries. But thanks to the technology, we all have smartphones. Everybody is having a smartphones, and we have 3 4 so we had our own mobile app for the purpose of calling, wherein so as to say, a campaign used to be loaded into the for each and every employee who is supposed to make a call. And then through that campaign we were able to make a call to the customer, we were able to send SMS to the customer, and to be able to remind them, yes, that hey, your installment is due. These are the mechanisms for which you can make the payments. You don't need to visit a branch. These are the various digital channels through which you can make a payment. This is how you can make a payment. Having a digital channel is fine, it is easy, it is a technology, okay, fine, you have enabled the technologically, but is my borrowers capable enough to be able to use that kind of channel? I mean, so how so user friendly it may be, still the kind of borrowers you have, you would still have to give them, handhold them, who has never used them. And this MFI or NBS industry, which was fundamentally a cash based economy, were used to. Now I think I would also say that this pandemic has actually benefited this industry in a way that it has hastened the process of digitalization. I mean, NBFC never thought, and MFI never thought that, oh, can we work from home? No, we cannot. But this has thought, said, oh, yeah, we can work from home. Who said we cannot work from home? I mean, while there is a cost element, while there are a lot of challenges because of pandemics, I mean, NPAs are increasing and all, but at the same time, NBFCs are able to save cost. There's a huge, I mean, office running cost and and traveling is a huge cost in itself. I think to that extent, so in every such kind of situation, there are always some positive situations also, which we can look at it, and we can look at how we can work from those particular perspective. Now coming back from the now on the then on the credit side of it, while during the pandemic there was focus was only and only on collection, because that is the what is most important. And so we again, because of the internal team, we developed we had a mobile app. So typically in a this industry is a manpower intensive industry. Now if I have to go for a collection and I'm been given a list that, oh, today you have to do a beat of some 30 customers, so I will take out a list. I will say, okay, so this has to be good. Okay, fine, let me take which is the route I should follow. Maybe I will follow this, and at the end of the day I will be able to, maybe out of 30 I may be able to visit 15, 20, or maybe 30. Or if by the time I reach a borrower house, the borrower has gone out somewhere. Now change the scenario. You have a technology. Anand Aggarwal is given a list. Anand is given a mobile app. The app tells Anand Aggarwal these are the list of 30 clients, and it also tells Anand Aggarwal which is how you are supposed to visit each and every client. Now that helps you to increase the efficiency of the collection also, because I know the Mr. X is not at home between 11 to 5, so maybe Anand Aggarwal should try to reach him before 11 or maybe after 5 o'clock. So once you do that, it helps you increase the collection efficiency. It helps you to optimize your manpower. Again, in the pandemic, I mean, earlier I was able to do maybe 30 borrowers only. Now I may be able to do 50 borrowers with a better efficiency. So it increases my revenue. It increases my profitability in terms of it. So that is one way to look at from how the technology has been able to help during the pandemic. Now coming back to the credit part of it. Now, when you were having a complete visibility to the field, you go to field, collect the document, do various verification and all those things. Again, with the technology, you can geotag. You can upload the document with a completely geotag. Because you have a lot of data which is available to you. Now the companies like SAS, we have Nakul from SAS over here. I mean, you are able to get so much insight into the data. I mean, data is, I mean, we keep talking nowadays that data is the future oil. It is actually, it is the fact that, I mean, we generate millions of data every, I mean, NBFCs are sitting on millions of data. And how do you mine the data? I mean, AI, ML, these companies comes very handy in terms of how you are able to bring out actionable insight. See, important is not to have data, important to be able to get actionable insight from the data. I think that is what some of the things I would want to share with the forum. Thank you, Dr. Ravindan.
For digital collection enablement, and I think with so many features like the geotagging and the monitoring, campaigning, I think that were the initiatives I think you've taken up, so that the collection can be made effective. I think I could able to understand, and the cost saving part also. And like you said, even in the pain areas, definitely we get some gains. There is no doubt at all. So pandemic opened the gates for that. In fact, I have a related question later for that actually. But I think you made it very yourself clear on the part of like what are the initiatives taken to enhance the collection so that the related risk can be reduced. Before moving to Balaji, I also have one suggestion. Suppose other panelists, suppose you done any specific dashboard or some mechanism so that the risk related elements are frequently communicated, appraised to the management for suitable decision. In your turn, please touch on that point. Okay. So with this note, now I think let us move to Balaji. Balaji, over to you.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elets team, and thanks, Dr. Ravindran. Thanks, my eminent panelist. I'm representing Orange Retail Finance. We are a non-banking finance company based in Chennai. So we are a young company. We started our operations 7 years back. Predominantly, we started in south part of Tamil Nadu. We have expanded to entire southern part of India. So we are operating in all the 5 states. So a pretty rapid expansion happened in the past 3 years, I would say. So like we had a customer base of 25,000, we could able to scale it up to almost 1.5 lakh customers in the span of 2.5 years. What I'm saying is pre-COVID period. Okay, so we are a tech-heavy company. We use a lot of fintech tools and very many tools out there. Okay, completely fintech-driven based solutioning is that from a sales to collection, I would say. Uh, Previously itself everything was in a cloud-based platform and everything. So pandemic never impacted us in any way because already almost my 80% of field force are using my mobile app where they don't have a place to sit. They operate from dealer outlet, they operate from feet on street operations. So already like almost 80% of crowd has been taken care, only 20%. But predominantly since everything was in a cloud, COVID never had any challenge for me. So that's one thing. And Dr. Raman was asking if you guys have did any special dashboards. It's a quite interesting case study we had. So we did a kind of warm dashboard kind of stuff where from Mishra we can able to control, pinpoint everything. So it's a complete digital suite we have for onboarding customers and then for collection. How this pandemic helped us is already our collection mechanisms are there in a digital mode. But during this pandemic, it has helped us to go with 100%. Like we have given a QR, we have given a basket payment service, or any kind of payment customer can able to pay. Since most of the customers are also opting for cash, this empathy-driven collection has helped us to completely go with 100% digital collection during this pandemic period. That's one learning we had, and with the help of a dashboard, we get able to have a complete control on only 1,800 employee workforce. So our primary objective was we keep expanding our business. While expanding our business, we not want to put many feet on street guys for sales and for collection. That's what our learning is. So we are completely digital driven operations right now with us. Every crisis has given us opportunity. So during this crisis, what has done is our business has grown, I would say. So we went with a new business model. We had only a two-wheeler and we had a cash loan. But during this pandemic, post-pandemic, what we did is we analyzed a customer and customer was in need of money. Most of my customers were I given loan for two-wheeler. Two-wheeler was used for business purpose. So we started with a business loan. Okay, so a new business model emerged, and then we started with the micro lab. So, like from a two-wheeler, we upgraded ourselves to 4 different products right now, and pandemic impact was not there. Initial first 3 months was there, but post that 3 months, like it's a completely it's a normal and our connections has improved much better, I would say, than whatever was in the previous period. Because what has happened is the entire sales team has changed to collection team and company empathy team was happening, and whichever customer needed for moratorium, we started educating them what is the impact on moratorium. Because there is interest loss to the customers, we started creating a lot of YouTube videos and started publishing to the customers through WhatsApp. So we started educating them. So almost sales and collection team was doing it. But whichever customer wanted to opt for moratorium, we are given moratorium. But we told them because it's only 2,000 3,000 rupees for each vehicle, not like because this is when that too we are operating in tier 2, tier 3. And during this pandemic, most of them were from rural players where they are already doing some kind of business, like they're a farmer, they're small business owners. Not that great impact was there. So they started paying it regularly also, I would say. And this pandemic given us a lot of learnings in terms of digital, how we need to scale up ourselves, and it has given us very good learning. Every crisis can able to use for a better opportunity. Our business has scaled much bigger, and our collection has improved much greater, I would say. So that's the learning from this crisis. I can touch base on this warboard, the dashboard reporting and all in next round. Certainly, like it's very interesting stuff we did.
Thanks a lot, Balaji. Actually, see one common thing, whatever no, I think we are hearing from the previous panelists, like no, the digitalization on the collection aspect. I think no enablement of no the collection to be done in a very simple manner. because you know very well, like lot of even cash collections we do. I think in Flexi Finance we do. I don't know about other companies. And one more mode, I think even Anand was touching upon. No, I think how customers can be easily reached, for the campaigns, communication, etc. I think Balaji touched upon. See, we are not advocating WhatsApp here, but WhatsApp become a good media. For the reach. Actually, we found comparing SMS or email. WhatsApp was a good media to reach. In fact, we also got the good response from them. And one more good takeaway what we got from Orange Finance is like diversification. I think now you went for diversification so that whatever dent you have in the existing business line can be compensated in the new business area. I think thanks Balaji for that. Now I think we can move to Kunal to hear his views. Kunal, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Anand. And thank you to the fellow panelists and hi everybody in the audience.
No,
See,
I'll
I'm
interpret here. Sorry, Kunal, I'll interpret here a bit. See, like your role, I'm seeing very great relevance here actually, because see, most of the companies, I think they started having especially during the pandemic part. In fact, though RBI is mandating to have a separate risk management team, but I'm seeing the designation of Kunal as a chief risk officer. So definitely, I think we love to hear more from Kunal. Please go ahead, Kunal.
Yeah, sure. Exactly, Mr. Ramdan. Actually, I was about to state a similar line as well. That here I'm in the esteemed company of panelists who are all executors, and I'm the only one presently in this panel who is actually the beneficiary of all the executions that are done by people with similar pedigree. So, our company also came through this particular challenge, and we are still undergoing some bit of stress from certain markets on as compared to what it was there earlier. So, giving a generic view of how pandemic situation could was managed, or what are those few traits that as an organization we took, or otherwise what are the few traits that somebody can take. I'll just start with it. So first and foremost, in the BFSI sector, the month of March is a very, very significant month. It's a ending month for the year, and there are a lot of things which are planned accordingly. And the third and the fourth week becomes even more significant because you're just finally consolidating and managing the entire timelines with the targets which you have. So and the lockdown couldn't have come in a more stressful scenario. So it was basically called off on the 22nd of March, if I'm not wrong. Which actually leads to the last and the final week of March. Suddenly you're facing a scenario which is one in 100 kind of a scenario that not even the country but the entire world is actually shut down. So the first action that we as a management team we took is to ensure the continuity of the business, and how we will operate in this lockdown period. Was the first level of discussion that we had, and while work from home and was obviously the option that one could have had, but at the same time, the second key focus area for us was the safety and the well-being of our employees as well, because the pandemic was spreading very fast. Things were going out of proportion with limited testing capabilities that the country was having at that point of time, and development of testing centers were going on. So one of the key aspects that we first touched upon was basically the safety and the well-being of employees. So we first and the foremost thing is that as a company, we have a formal attendance system in our in-house system. So what we did is, instead of asking people to mark attendance, we first asked about the well-being. or are they undergoing any symptoms? Are they basically having any kind of challenges in terms of operating? Are they or their family members traveling, or are they not able to do anything? Because our one key focus area that we did as an actionable was to create quick response teams. While there was a central quick response team, there was zonal quick response teams, and their jobs were basically to get data with the help of the IT system when people were recording attendance of the employee well-being. That if there is any red flag, which used to come to the central team in the form of daily MIS and daily alerts, then immediate attention can be given to those employees who are in a need. So that was the first, and I would say the one of the most crucial actions that we took, which is the employee safety and well-being. The second aspect that we then picked up was servicing the customer, and how can we service the customer through the mobile self-service app that we had. But like what Mr. Prashant touched upon, and also touched upon by the other co-panelists, that the problem is not that we do have apps and we do have solutions. The problem is whether our customer base can actually use that solution or not. So therefore, that had to be resolved. So communication model was built up to send out to the customers, in terms of informing them that while you have these various options to connect with HLF, there is a mobile app which you can download, and you can use them for A, B, C, D, E, scenarios, like you want to know your EMI dates, or any such thing. And as a result, in the next 2 months, we saw that our app download had increased from almost 4x, and almost around 75 to 78% of my customer base now was under the was using my mobile app, which obviously helped us in terms of servicing them well. In parallel, like Dr. Raviran mentioned, WhatsApp was a great help, and it was used for communicating. But in our scenario, what we additionally did is, using the same customer app, we tried to communicate back to the customer by sending a notification on the apps. Because one of the aspects that we wanted to clearly ensure is the data security, and ensuring that the customer data is not going to any third party apps. So while WhatsApp was used for sending generic message, mobile apps were used to send specific targeted messages. For example, if somebody's EMI is due, but he or she can avail a moratorium, the notifications were sent. At the same time, the third and initiative that we took is to educate the customer on this entire moratorium period. What is the moratorium scheme all about? What is in it for the customer? How will it gain, or whether there is a long term challenge for the customer, because he has to pay EMIs even more than the signed up tenure. So these were things which had to be clearly explained to the customer. So those do's and don'ts were created for them. The fourth aspect was basically on the collection app. So we have a separate collection app over here. Now, while the sales was obviously affected, like everybody else said, and the focus was not very different for us as compared to what the industry did. We also were focusing on collections at that point in time, and at the same time also trying to manage the clearance of the repossession stock. So these were two areas that we really focus. So a collection app which is already there now was extended to certain more users with more enhanced security features inbuilt into the app. So there, peers in our colleagues in my company, which are your counterparts in my company, like the CISO and the CIO, they really supported us very effectively, and I would say, in a very, very fast pace to develop these security features, because we as risk team, we were not very comfortable, to extend the app without the security features being fully there. So once the security features were enabled, we tested it, we were given assurance by the IT team, the new collection app was rolled out, and that created some kind of an opportunity out of this, a depressing scenario. And today, even when the pandemic situation is quite in control, while the cases are rising in some of the states, but on a larger basis, India is still undergoing a very less number as compared to say 5 6 months back. Even till today, the collection app is effective, and now we, I guess, have taken it as a practice to continue to use the collection app for even future collections as well. And as a result, in the first quarter itself, we saw a 25 to 30% collection effectiveness as compared to the target. And in the subsequent quarter, when the app was in full flow, we saw suddenly the collection effectiveness jumped up to 65 to 70%. And by the end of December, we were in the range of 90 to 95% collection effectiveness. So, as a combination of taking care of employees, servicing the customers, and educating the customers, as well as enabling the collection resources, this entire thing was able, this entire risk around the COVID was able, we were able to manage well, and with a strong communication rhythm to employees, to customers, and even to the board. I think we are happy to share that as a company we are we have tried to manage the things as far as possible. And in my view, the mitigation plan that the company had created, we were able to do quite well on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Kunal. I think you really touched upon, no, I think that important area of, the employee safety. I think, of course, that's very relevant because without good wall, no, we can't draw the picture, correct? I think that's the base. I think
Yeah.
that's well taken care. And one point, what you clearly indicated, no, I'm also resonating because the employees' IT savviness, not employees, like customers' IT savviness, no, it is always no an impediment. Even you take in our case also truck operators, they're not that well educated actually. So asking them or making them to use of our facilities, it it warrants for a lot of education, continuous follow up, etc. I think that was conveyed by you, like I think you taken a lot of measures so that the customer adaptability percentage has increased and all.
Yeah, one example that I will state here with your permission, but very quickly in 30 seconds. A truck operator, in our case also, like 70 to 75% of my portfolio is new to credit. So which means these are, technically drivers who are basically getting
Exactly.
vehicles. So today they get connected with our people, or like pre-COVID levels, they used to connect with our people, and somebody used to handhold them, fill up the papers, and fill, and then eventually the application used to come to us for processing. And then the during the EMI time, somebody will call them, remind them, either he will put a check, or he will do an ECS, something like that. So those are education levels that from a cash payment to check payment to ECS, NASH, the customer educations were levels were increased by regular discussion with people. The same people were used now to educate the same truck driver that you are using your mobile app for YouTube, you're using your mobile app to see WhatsApp videos. If you open up this HLF Connect app, you will be able to get your your XYZ options for paying. You can get your XYZ options for knowing your EMI dates, and you just open it and you will see the notification. And we tried to create the app, during the pandemic. The app was basically expanded to vernacular languages also, so that like we have close to about 35-40% of our portfolio in South India. So all the South Indian languages were used to. The app was converted into all the South Indian languages, so that he can resonate with the app, and the person who's explaining can also explain and handhold him. So that is one example that we tried to do.
No, that's a valid point, Kunal, because see, for any risk management initiative, I think education is very important actually. Creating awareness about that particular part. That's very well conveyed, Kunal.
Thank
I
you.
think I'm going to move it like Nakul with a very relevant thing. We are expecting a good input from you, Nakul. It is something like now NBFCs know they definitely need an agile liquidity risk management and planning system. That is actually it is always needed, but nowadays that thing is highly warranted. Can you put some light on that, Nakul? How
Sure,
that can
sir.
be done? How that can be done?
Sure, sir. Thank you for having me on the panel. Before I move into liquidity, just a couple of comments. So, one, I understand, listening to all of you that, NBFCs has in general over the past year, gone through a very, very tough period. But the more I'm listening to you two, I'm very optimistic of, where this is going to go in the near future. For two reasons. One, because, as Kunal mentioned, having 70% of your customer base on an app and having that sort of information and data digitized, it's a lot of value. And in NBFCs, you're talking about financial data. As Anand mentioned, right, there's a lot of value to each of these data points. And it is just a question of the current year has pushed both the customers to start using these digital platforms and, NBFCs to actually start capturing a lot of this data in more detail. I think the next couple of years will be focused on how, you can actually go ahead and utilize some of this data and unlock some of this value, because have no doubt there is a lot of value attached with this underlying data and a lot of ground level data that you guys are capturing. Very, very optimistic about the sector itself. I think more specifically on the question you asked around liquidity risk. So whilst you correctly said, right, one of the challenges was collections that you faced, and being able to gather all this, reach out to your customers, not having enough, digital means to do that, which is what you focused on. Another issue that NBFC faced was, the liquidity crisis. Especially in March, April, there was a lot of customer, confidence that was shaken in especially smaller private sector banks, with some key banks also looking at not being able to service their liquidity concerns. And this essentially what we saw, and what we looked at some of these organizations, one of the key focus needs to be, even going ahead, needs to be how do you manage liquidity under these scenarios that do come up, and especially the short-term liquidity, right? So in terms of the next 30-day liquidity, you can also see this in the regulations that the Reserve Bank is putting in, near requirements like LCR being computed on a daily basis, and having a very strong contingency funding plan under multiple scenarios. So you need to look at what are the multiple scenarios that can come in, so things like moratorium, things like decline in interest rates, and under each of these scenarios, is the NBFC actually prepared to take on, what is the funding, where are you going to raise funding from, because this has a very, very strong impact on the profitability of the company. In fact, what we've seen is some of the larger financial institutions are now looking at liquidity almost like a credit decisioning process. So, like when I enter into a loan, I actually look at a credit decisioning. I also need to look at a liquidity decisioning for that, right? So, I actually need to look at what is the NII impact of this particular kind of product or this kind of loan that I'm giving out. What is the EV impact, and how will I actually how will it impact the company's profitability, the NBFC, right? And the second thing is using fund transfer pricing as an indicative mechanism. So, whilst some of these discussions may be limited to CROs, Kunal would know this in more detail, or maybe the ALCO committee. There needs to be a very clear indication to the feet on street going out as to where do they need to actually start lending, what are the kind of recoveries that are more important, and a very important tool of indicating this is through a fund transfer pricing, or the spread that you're actually charging on each of these loan accounts. So that's where we essentially see, banks or financial institutions and NBFCs move towards their liquidity. And the third area that is very, very becoming very important is modeling customer behavior. So, like I mentioned, right now the focus is largely on gathering customer data, but increasingly we're looking at how the customer is going to behave under different situations, and what is the response that the institution needs to have to each of these changing customer behaviors. So under various stress conditions, under increasing interest rate regime, under decreasing interest rate regime, what are the sort of customer behaviors that I'm looking at, and what should our response be? So we need to be prepared for each of these scenarios, because another point that was mentioned is the stresses. So whether it be GST, COVID, demonetizations have been coming at a very, very fast pace. But even if they don't come at this faster pace, there is going to be a lot of these impacts that are going to come up in the near future as well. And we need to be sure that we are prepared to take on each of these. And liquidity obviously is a key concern, right? If you're not liquid, you're not going to survive through each of these each of these pandemics or changes in regulations.
Actually, Nakul, I think you conveyed very clearly. See, the point now I want to just value add something here. One is the data. Even one of the panelists, we mentioned about the requirement of a data to analyze upon. And in fact, our management at this point of time is expecting something artificial intelligence based solution, so that whether we can sense this customer is going to default next month. Because see, the relevance other panelists can really appreciate. Now the introduction of Ind AS regulations, I think very well we have to make the NPA provision not only based on the current month end or something and all. We have to make the provision for the ensuing 3 months, whether how many accounts will move to NPA. So see that the relevance of risk management and managing or mitigating that is become very, very highly relevant.
Yeah.
And now in our company, day by day, we are monitoring which are the cases of the cat on the wall. We'll move to the next category, and we'll see we are directing our collection team. Though we are given all facilities, app, etc. and all, go sit with the customer, get money and come, so that the cat will not fall on the wrong side. So this sort of initiatives we take, though the IT facilities are there, but business scenarios that the pandemic, the negative aspects, something and all. But one good thing is we got the opportunity, CEOs, to create a good platform for the company and the customers to interact. I think this is one takeaway we can clearly take. And actually, thanks, Nakul, for your insights again. Because I'm not intended to go for another round, because I think we'll be running short of time. Only I'm coming out of risk, and I'll touch upon one common question. I think those who are interested can answer. Because we are hearing many things we are adopting because of this pandemic situation and all. But what I'm hearing from our some of the fellow CEOs and friends and all, many things we cannot able to follow now, because we are slowly coming out of the pandemic part, and that's all going off. I think you are getting my point actually. So in your company, see, it's not like it's being done intentionally. See, we have followed that. I'll tell you one example. We were very particular about conducting virtual meetings. Let me tell you honestly, now in Coimbatore, the situation is very comfortable. Okay, even people are not wearing masks and all, and we are slowly coming back to have eye-to-eye meetings in our office. Of course, we are having the other meetings virtually only. We are not allowing for travel, etc. Likewise, are you facing any experiences? But in fact, I am fighting with my management not to do that. We are against that, because that's a good thing, and there are a lot of advantages actually. By sitting in your place, you can have a meeting organized. Why to go and sit in a thing, booking a conference room, etc. I'm just giving a sample case. So in your company, any all things very judicially implemented. Now I think you as a CEO, you're struggling to take that forward. Any case is there, I'm leaving it to open. You can explain actually, so that we will also get a feel of how to control that. Because the benefit, whatever, I think CEOs, we took a lot of pain and effort to implement that, and it's not go just like that disappearing or something and all. That's the point. I think I'm making it open to the panelists actually. Are you facing any sort of this scenario in your company?
Yeah, Dr. Anand, Prashant here.
Yeah, Prashant.
Yeah. So I would like to say something on this. As you rightly said, we have implemented a lot of digital initiatives. Okay. And as other panels also says that what is customer requirement? Okay. How customer want it to be implemented? That is going to be a major challenge for us. So one example I will tell you. Few of the initiatives what we thought, like one initiative is going to continue is like a work from home model. Okay.
Okay.
I think it will become a new normal now. And in Shriram specifically, I would like to mention that, now they says 40% should be in office, 30% should be in office or something. But if you see our brand setup, we got 70 to 80% guys are on fit on street. And then we follow that 20% only are in office on any given point of time. Okay. And the best part is that the mobile first approach is going to play a major role in future. Okay. He need not have a system, he need not have a laptop, anything with him, and everything happened on mobile. So even like collection purpose or the proposal entry purpose, we are proud to say that our 70 to 80% of our proposal entry happens on our mobile by our sales executive. And during demonetization time itself, I'll say 50 to 60% collection was happening on mobile. But yes, now due to this pandemic, what we have done is that we have tied up with lot of guys, as I mentioned, post office, telcos like Airtel, Vodafone, or any banks. So customer has to go to any of this location, just mention his loan number and make the payment. Okay, so the
Okay.
omni-channel presence and mobile-first approach is going to play a major role. And yes, work from home is going to be a kind of a new normal for all of us.
Okay, I think I appreciate that point because why I specifically asked that thing. No, see, I'm not putting in the thing in the negative part because we are good CEOs. See,
Mm.
only thing is the message I'm conveying. No, we have the responsibility. No, to streamline whatever thing we implemented in the pandemic situation, whatever thing we established in the new normal stage. Obviously, we have to continue that. I'll tell you one example. In Coimbatore, now lot of laptops are available for sale. What I mean is like, whatever they bought in that thing, work from home thing and all people they started attending the thing and all. Earlier, even it's very difficult for us to get laptops in the market, but now it is available for sale. But that means whatever they thought earlier, but in our Shakti Finance, like maybe it may happen in Orange or other companies also. We want to continue this so that smartphone is serving the purpose.
Yeah.
We have our collection app or our CRM application, everything and all. No, we make use of smartphone, and even we used to pay loan note to buy smartphones, interest-free loans. We do that way. So
Yeah.
before coming to the conclusion, I'll just ask one small input from Nakul. Uh, what is your suggestion? Like, we move forward, Nakul, in the coming year, like 2021, like, to manage this risk part. What are the strategies we have to adopt? It may be related to data, or it may be related to any other areas. As a reputed vendor, what is your suggestion on that?
So correct, sir. So I think one of the key changes, as you correctly mentioned, there is a lot more data, and we had a lot of discussion on data that is being collected and how that can be utilized. You also mentioned artificial intelligence. So whilst it's a large term, but what analytics has now reached was typically only larger institutions. So very large banks could afford or have 100 200 people member analytics team. But now with the it's almost like a commoditization of analytics, right? So uh, it has become much easier with very easily available platforms. You just need to use plug in your data, and obviously you are large sources of data. Like I mentioned, you're collecting these very very important data points around. Uh, so I think artificial intelligence and this platformization of risk analytics is something that is going to be coming up very strongly. You don't need very large teams. You need it's a very easy to use applications. The SaaS via platform, for example, allows basically business users to run their own analytics to be able to predict, what is a loan is going to get, defaulted soon, how you can recover better from your customers, where you should be focusing your recovery analytics. And the second big area that we are looking at is movement to cloud. So, organizations are looking at, outsourcing as much of their non-critical work as possible to, being a cloud first approach. So movement to public cloud, which also gives ability to scale up these analytics very, very rapidly as required. So, companies like, we have a lot of startups, a lot of smaller NBFCs which are growing at a very rapid pace. You need flexibility in being able to scale up, scale down on some of these technologies. So I think use of machine learning, or AI as you may call it, and movement to cloud are two of those clear areas where we're looking at from a technology perspective in the next year or so that NBFCs will look at.
Yeah, I think in a concise manner, no, I think we talk about no SMAC, correct? I think social, mobile, analytics, and cloud. And I think social also we started using actually in a smaller way. And like using a platform like WhatsApp itself, no, is a sort of a small baby step towards the social engineering. And I think might be some of our panelists also, they might be using it. So I think we are. I think we just know we are 60 minutes now. I think I am not seeing any questions for us now from the audience.
So, Dr. Avinda, I just want to make 2 points just to add to what Kunal mentioned and something.
Please.
So I think one thing is very clear. I mean, this industry is extremely manpower intensive industry, and I said that as we knew earlier that connect with the borrower is extremely important, because money, if not received in time, is the money lost. And I think that was one of the reason the business owners, so as to say, or CEOs, I would say, they were like jittery when we used to talk earlier in terms of remote working or this thing. But I think this, thanks to the technological advances, I mean, whether we talk like, I mean, I did a setup of completely cloud only organization, and so last 4 years I have been focusing completely on cloud only and the mobile first. I think these things, technologies have shown to the management also that during the pandemic we could work, business could continue to work, and with again the technologies which comes from the OEMs like SaaS, which gives actionable inputs on your mobile phone, on available to you. I mean, I think there is a confidence which is building up in the organization that yes, that this can work. And while 100% work from home will never be a situation in this kind of industry, but I think from 6-day working, we may move to 3-4 days kind of working, and at least in the corporate office or office where people need not be in the field, those people would continue to work from home largely, or may come once in a week or twice in a week. And in the field scenario, I think with the advent of AI ML based rule engines, or from the mobile based app, a lot of things will get automated and will get further streamlined in terms of how the employee is able to effectively work in the limited time frame and be safe as per from the pandemic perspective also. I think I just wanted to make that 2 bits of mine into this.
No, Anand, I am fully with you. See, the idea is like, there are scenarios like, the collection team, they used to come to their base camp every day morning and get the directions from his senior, then go to the field. But now it is gone. Like you rightly said, the mobile app is there. You can see any point at time what are the tasks assigned to you. Like you also, I think you only pointed about the campaigns or something and all. We normally call that as journey plan, permanent journey plan or something and all. That can be fixed for the full week, and he can be fleet on the street. He can just move on, make the collection, and enter the status over there, and his senior can see his daily collection report, and he can give direction over there, and with the real data, like even we, I think now there are options available now to track his movements. It is not like negative. We are policing him. It's not like that. And you can have lat logs captured.
Yes, true, very true. Very true.
The customer, he talks about collection. He talks about the new business opportunities, and the moment he enters in the system, the details are captured with lat log. So that how even I no is traveling things are reimbursed based on this.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
that is
fully with you.
exactly.
I'm fully
Yeah,
with you.
that's exactly we are doing it. Even he visit for a loan application, that lifelong get captured immediately of the borrower also, so that we are
Correct.
exactly know where exactly that house was when the credit verification was being done.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, the scenario is totally changing. It's like no, thanks to pandemic or no the technology, data part and all. Even he can go and just click a button. He can see who are the customers nearby who can just go and have
Yes.
a tap. That's also can be done anyway.
Yes.
I think thanks a lot. I think along with the audience, in fact, I also really enjoyed this panel discussion. I think a lot of insights. I think we are also had the opportunity to interact with you all. Thanks a lot for your nice
Thank,
session along with me. Thanks a lot.
thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dr. Ravindran, and thanks everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you.
everyone on the panel. Yeah,
It
thanks
was
for
a
having
wonderful
me.
session. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Ravindran.
Thank you.
So we would like to thank all our panelists, Mr. Prashant Deshpande, CISO, Shriram Transport Finance, Mr. Anand Aggarwal, CISO and Consultant, Maanaveeya Development and Finance, Balaji TK, CIO, Orange Retail Finance, Kunal Kathpal, Chief Risk Officer, Hinduja Leyland Finance, and Nakul Rajpal, Principal Consultant, SAS. Also, Mr. N. Ravindran, the CIO for Sakti Finance, for moderating the session. And thank you again, panelists, for an excellent and an insightful discussion on robust tech usage and the rising risk during the new normal. Now we will have a short break where you can go and visit the expo and have a few minutes to network before we go on to our next panel discussion. Thank you.